everybody. And guess what? Oh, hey, I'm back. I'm back. It's been a very long time. I did this little thing called having a baby. Apparently, it takes some time to heal up afterwards. So that's why it took me a little bit. It's good to be back. And also, hey, I hope y'all are either wearing green or orange today because it is St. Patty's Day. Look at that. Noir's got some green on, and then Peter's got some orange. That only leaves Javion. Javion. You can't show it. Just say you can't show it to us.
Yeah, yeah,
Say
it's
you're
under, it's under the sweater.
Just say you're not Catholic. That's all you have to do.
Oh yeah.
Do I
That's
get
why you
extra
want them-
points for it being Gen Con?
Yes, you do. You get double buku points. You
You
can drink
always get extra
twice
points
tonight.
for your
You can drink
Gen Con.
twice tonight. And then also scare those snakes off that island, because that's really what it's all about. Scaring snakes off an island. But yeah, so how have you guys been? Javion, I noticed you're somewhere else. Where are you at? What have you been doing?
I am in Virginia right now. Yep, that's right, Virginia. So I just got on a plane. It was a really long trip, and I was really tired, but I got some sleep, and now I'm ready to come back.
Ooh.
I have been playing a lot of video games, playing a lot of board games. I think I talked about it last time, but I'm still addicted to it. It's called Dungeons of Ether. It's kind of like a dice rolling dungeon crawl video game. So you like use the dice to deal damage and stuff like that, but it's really unique. And it uses all the characters from Rivals of Ether, which is that Smash Bros. Similar game inspired video game where you use different characters and fight each other. So it gives them like a little bit of a story to play through. It's pretty fun. I really enjoy the adaptation of dice and video game in the same thing. It's really cool.
Oh no, that does sound fun. Everybody knows if you want to get Javion to play your game, please just put a ton of dice in there. That will get Javion to buy it.
I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, thank you. I was glad to be back. Speaking of being back and also having double buku points and also wearing a hat of himself, Noir, what have you been up to?
And the hat that he's wearing is also of himself. It's Inception.
Inception.
I'm doing all right. I have gone through my first week of being a cat daddy.
I saw that.
Myself now. It's raising a cat is challenging. It's hard. It's fun. I mean, you wouldn't know it. No, I'm just kidding. I can't compare myself to you. Like, no, but I am loving Watson. He's my little baby boy. We've just been he's just been enjoying catnip in old episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine because he's my boy.
Oh, I did see pictures of him. Looks Watson looks very cute. Also, when are you getting him a coat and a pair of glasses? Because if you have his name Watson, he needs to get a coat and a pair of cat glasses, and I demand him to have these things.
If you think that we're not gonna do a Sherlock Holmes and Watson photo shoot together, you don't know me. Of course that's happening. It's gonna be adorable. I'm gonna have those pictures. I'm not using it for anything like an invite or anything. I just want them to exist. I've already spent $400 on cat armor. So
oh my god.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So
he's gonna be armored up with me.
Oh, it's gonna be so cool. What I'm hearing is that you need to get a Sherlock, so you have a Watson. So
I'm Sherlock.
Oh, you're Sherlock. You're not gonna get another cat.
No. Listen, raising one cat has already been a challenge enough. He woke up at 4 a.m, jumped on my chest, and just meowed at me, and I don't know what he wanted. I still don't know what he wanted. He just got up and left after that. So, no, just one cat for a while. I'm Sherlock. He's Watson. We run the streets. It's my boy.
It's cool. It's cool. All right. And also, Peter, what have you been up to? You're back. How was your vacation from earlier? You say.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I've been a little vacationing here and there, and I've been awfully sick the last 3 months. But I'm like on a 9-day wellness streak, so I'm knock on wood. I'm past all the winter illnesses. That would be good. And other than that, I've been trying to edit the Actorogi movie that we filmed back in December, but in reality spending more time playing Civilization
As usual.
But really happy to have you back, Yeah, Bonsai, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I now have the baby, of course, is a month old. And we finally got to sleep in like 3 hour chunks at a time. It's
Wow.
nice. Usually it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours, but now it's glorious to just get 3 hours and then go to sleep for 3 hours and wake up and do it all over.
It's funny
This is
how that sounds a lot like Noir's story in Watson. You and your
Yeah.
baby, Noir and Watson.
this is why I
But
think the poly relationships have it right because it doesn't seem like parenting is a two-person job. Like the more people you have, I feel like the easier the workload gets. You can distribute it with more people. Everybody sleeps a little bit better.
Well, I have to
oh yeah.
tell you, I'm a terrible co-parent. Whenever Watson's giving Anita a hard time, I'm like, yeah, do it.
Do it.
Do it for both of us.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Yeah, the only thing is I have to, of course, because I have a boy, I now have an unfortunate learning how to dodge the stream is
Oh no!
the bigger issue. Apparently, that's what I need to learn. This is what you get when you have a boy. You just surprise.
Wow.
They just come at you.
I thought that was just a joke from a Wayne movie.
No, it's not. They don't have control and they will get you anytime when you're like, okay, I think it's safe. You change
Oh
their
my
diaper, and
God.
as soon as you open it, it's just like, pa! And you're like,
When
gosh, darn
it's,
it.
Learn
it's
to
when the
parry,
cold,
you scrub.
it's when the cold air hits.
That's what
Yeah.
everybody says, and I try to slap down a wipe, but it's not fast enough.
Wow.
Anyway,
Whew.
no, that's a great segue into like, you know what? Sometimes we need to put a jammer in that spell, especially if baby's trying to pee on us. Peter.
Well, if you want a jammer and a spell, you came to the right show here on TableTakes and Gen Con TV. All right, our first news segment today comes from Matt Jarvis at Dice Maker, who has reported that a number of classic Dungeons and Dragons video games are seeing a re-release on the PC, some for the first time in over 2 decades. The 8 Dungeons and Dragons video games headed back to the PC include titles released during the 1980s and 90s, making them among the first digital adaptations of the long-running fantasy role-playing game. Among them is Spelljammer, Pirates of Realm Space, a ship-to-ship combat game based on the popular sci-fi setting that returned to D&D 5e last summer, and several PC games based on Dragonlance, the popular universe introduced by Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss. They're novels that saw a reboot in last year's 5e adventure, Shadow of the Dragon Queen. The Dragonlance video games include dragon combat game Dragon Strike, top-down strategy game War of the Lance, and the trilogy spanning Heroes of the Lance, Dragons of Flame, and Shadow Sorcerer. Rounding out the returning games is Kingdom ruling real-time strategy game Fantasy Empires, set in the RPG setting of Mystara, and the first D&D video game to feature a computerized dungeon master. Watch out, Chat TB. What was that? Chat TBD? I don't know. Anyway, TBD. There we go. And also Death Keep, a first-person role-playing game that could be summed up as Doom, but D&D. Heroes of the Lance, Dragons of Flame, War of the Lance, and Shadow Sorcerer will be released together as the Silver Box Classic Bundle, along with Spelljammer, Pirates of Realm Space, Fantasy Empires, Dragon Strike, and Death Keep will all be released for the PC via Steam and GOG later this month.
Very nice. I know a couple of people who are probably going to be getting their hands on these games as soon as possible. Of course, these games were the stunning graphics of go up, go down, and left and right are how to play it. I guess to you, any of you, Javion, Noir, excited about any of these classics?
I for one am super excited to give them a try. I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3 lately, and it's got me kind of wanting to go back and play Baldur's Gate 2 and 1. Those are classics, and I kind of want to see what inspired those games that I love. So this is definitely something that's got my interest.
I'm seeing that it's a re-release and not like a remake or a reboot or anything like that. So I'm assuming that none of the graphics are going to be updated for any reason, or They're just gonna keep the old school style. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it looks to me like I think that some of us who played those games way back when would be like, oh, this is fun, this is cool, it's feeling so retro. And then 2 or 3 hours into it, like, oh yeah, I remember why I was excited when EverQuest came out.
The only reason I'm really actually excited for these games is because whenever I talk about like D&D lore to the players that I run D&D for, they always talk about how they learn what they know from the video games. So this is like my education is going to be playing these games.
Yeah, no, that just sounds cool to me. Just to see it. So if you guys are classic gamers, wanting to see these games, they're going to be coming out pretty soon to PC Master Race. But you want to know what is really, really exciting? Thanks to Jeffrey Dohm-Sanchez, by the way. If you guys didn't know, we have an exclusive interview with him right after we do the Gen Con TableTakes, so hold off after that. And also by Owen Good of Polygon. The new Lord of the Rings Magic cards have been unveiled to everybody. So if you didn't know, Magic the Gathering Universe Beyond set, this is going to be a set that's scheduled to release June 23 of 2023. They're going to be featuring Lord of the Rings characters such as Frodo, Sauron's Bane, Samwise, all your classic Lord of the Rings folks. But the really, really cool thing is what they're doing with the Rings of Power for this. Definitely Magic the Gathering knows that collectors love them, and collectors are going to go insane when they hear what they have in store. First, just to kind of ease into it, the One Ring, they'll have a couple of set foil cards out there in limited series. So Rings of Power only found, of course, in the collector's booster packs. They have 300 of a double rainbow ring, an elven, 700 in a double rainbow foil in dwarven, 900 in double rainbow ring for human, and then the non-foil goes 3,000 for elven, 7,000 for dwarven. These sets, of course, these cards are going to be in the language that I am speaking in, and 9,000 in human. The real one that I know they're trying to make it work like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the Golden Ticket. In this series, there will be one ring foil card in the Black Speech of Sauron using Tegwar letters, and it's going to be the one in its series. There is going to be no duplicates. They are planning to only make one, and they're going to hide it in one of these random collector booster decks for one special lucky person to have. And can you imagine? What are your imagine if you were the person to get that card? What would you do?
That's a good question, because you could either like put it on your shelf, like never touch it, and like put it in like hard case, like resin or whatever to protect it, or you could play it like in the game and just like shock people like when it shows up in like tournaments or whatever. I think I would probably just like not even get close to touching it. I just wanted that thing to start collecting dust on my shelf, preferably as far away from other people, just to look at. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Peter, what about you? What do you think?
It's I think it's a fun gimmick. See what happens. I just wonder about scenarios like, it goes to somebody who never actually opens their cards, and it just like becomes this mystery for years, or it falls off somebody's, a truck, in the sewer, on the delivery, I mean, it's just so easy for this that this card might never actually show up anywhere, and then I can't help but kind of laugh at that. It'd be kind of funny. And what would I do with that? I don't know. I think I'd be like Javion. I'd just put it somewhere, and it'd be fun to have it and not tell anybody. Right, that'd be kind of cool too. Just have it, and because everybody's going to be wanting to find it, right? And where is it? And Watsy's going to want the story to come out at some point, so they can make headlines on it, right? It'd be fun to have the card and just like not tell anybody. Just to be like, "Go, it's my precious, it's my precious."
I think that's what's going to happen. I think somebody's going to like find it in like one of their booster packs. They're not going to realize what it is. And it'll just like go on a shelf in like a box tucked away somewhere and never get used again.
All right, so here's the challenge that I'm issuing to whoever finds it. I need you to build a commander deck, put that card in there, and only whip it out at the finals. Play it as part of your winning strategy. Oh my God, he's got the card and you win the tournament. Baller move. If not, then you're a coward.
I don't know if these cards are playable though. Are they tournament legal? I think that's the question.
I think listen, if they're printing a brand new card and it already can't be used in a tournament, I don't know what's going on.
I mean, it's tournament legal, depends on the tournament. That's always the case, right? I mean, it's like there's no card. Well, I mean, unless it's just not even a legal card, like some proxy card or whatever. But I mean, yeah.
Listen, anything's legal if you got a good enough getaway driver.
It'll be legal, I'm sure.
As long as you're not caught, that's how it works.
Yeah, somebody's gonna sleeve that thing and take it to a big tournament and get all this press. That'd be fun.
How much do you think it's gonna go for though? Like, if we were gonna bet, guess on who could get the closest to guessing without going over, I'd probably go somewhere like
$5,000.
I'm 9.
5.
5.
Oh, I was gonna say higher than that. I was probably gonna say like 25 grand.
Oh, $100,000 easy.
You think?
Yeah, that's
$100,000 easy. Like if it's really a one of a kind card and somebody rescues it, puts it in, a sleeve, a protector, gets it graded, just make sure so it's like a 10, even if it, assuming it even comes out of the pack a 10, because it's really easy for a card to have some sort of blemish that before you've even reached it, before you even got it. That's one of it's going to be worth a lot of money, even though it's a whole big gimmick on some level. It'll be worth a bunch of money.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to see who's going to be the lucky one ring to rule them all, if they're going to keep it to themselves or if they're dramatically going to go to like Hawaii or something and throw it into the fire.
I was just about to be like, that's the ultimate move is you get that card and you dump it in a volcano.
Just throw it in the volcano. You just gotta, Javion, right? You just gotta go for it sometimes.
Yeah. Just like board games. Sometimes you just gotta go. Speaking of which, there is a new release of a popular board game. This article comes to us from as well Jeffrey Dohm-Sanchez in ICv2. Would you like to play Azul but with even smaller pieces? Azul Mini is a new version of Azul that is going to be released. And it's going to be just the same rules as Azul, but with much smaller pieces. So it's like pocket sized. You can take it in your purse. You can take it in like a carry-on bag or something like that. So you can play it at the airport or poolside or wherever you end up wanting to play like a pickup game. All the rules are going to stay the same, so it's still 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, and plays in 45 minutes, but it's only going to retail for $20. So if you're gaming on a budget, it's a great option for a very widely popular game in a relatively small price. Looks like it's coming to us in April 21st, so we don't have to wait very long, probably about 4 days before it releases into retail. I'm definitely looking forward to playing Azul in smaller sizes because I travel a lot and I prefer to bring games with me whenever I can. But I also don't want to bring too many because then I end up just like with a heavy suitcase that I have to pay extra for or like redistribute items so that I don't go over the limit. So this is just like a great way where I can play like finally a strategy game. I don't have to just take party games with me on my trips. I can just bring something that I think all core gamers and casual gamers alike will enjoy. So I'm happy to see another edition of a classic game getting a new style for people to enjoy. And for those of you who don't know, if you like Azul and you wanted to play other versions of it, there are lots of other versions of it as well. There's the Summer Pavilion, there's the Stained Glass Sintra, and the Master Chocolatier that came out last year. So there's lots and lots of versions of Azul if you're a fan like I am. It's really just like a tile placement game. So it just appeals to a lot of different people. It's got bright colors. You just got to try not to eat them. I think this is the real challenge with Azul Mini. How are you going to make it so that people don't try to eat your starfish looking tiles? I think they're small enough now that people hopefully won't want them as badly, but I don't know. They get mixed into like a bag with your other stuff. And all of a sudden you got, a lawsuit on your hands.
Well, Yeah, that's good. So, judging by Javion, don't eat Azul pieces. Just don't eat any board game pieces, really. I know, right? Right, Boomer? Boomer agrees.
If you want to be safe, just don't eat any Starbursts either. You never know when they're going to slip in a resin tile in one of the packages.
No, I think the only problem I have with this package one it would be would the textures be right, and also would they be too itty bitty? You know,
I'm willing to make the sacrifice, I think, in order to be able to play Azul in a smaller package. I think it's worth it.
all right. But yeah, no, more things that are coming to board games. Evil Genius announces King Kong and Pacific Rim as their upcoming Kickstarter projects. This is coming from us from Chase Carter of Dice Breakers. Thank you, Chase Carter. They basically Evil Genius's new crowdfunding campaign that is going to be 5th edition compatible adventure books is announced to be Pacific Rim and Kong Skull Island. So if you're a big fan of either or, let's see, I believe, oh yeah, sorry, I lost track. Okay, the Pacific Rim one is going to be Dominion of Iron. It takes place after the tales of the Year Zero comic books. Thinking it'd be about 160 pages, 56 of those pages directly involving with building your own Jaeger. So that's really fun if you just want to get it so you can be like, how do I make my own Jaeger? Which is going to be the big mega mech. Also, if you're into Kong's Skull Island, it's going to be the Isle of the Dam. You're going back in to try to get more information about the inhabitants, the creatures, and the resources that are on Skull Island or Isle of the Dam. And this one is also dedicated 56 pages to bestiaries of the different types of animals and beasts that you can encounter on like Skull Island. If any of those sound really, really cool to you, like I said, they're going to be Evil Genius is going to be starting their new crowdfunder in a bit. It didn't actually say the release date, but those are the details that we have so far on that. Also, I feel like we got to patrol for some new stuff. What do you think, Noir?
I think I know exactly what you mean. You're so slick, so smooth with these segues. You almost caught me off guard, but I'm always watching. I'm always watching because I like to lead my armies into battle. And speaking of, we've got 3 new Warhammer 40K boarding patrols to look at. The Adeptus Sororitas, Adeptus Custodes, and the Thousand Suns. I'm very grateful for that last one. Game Workshop launched 3 new Warhammer 40K boarding patrols box sets, which will be headed to pre-order soon. The boarding patrol Adeptus Sororitas is led by Canonis, who commands a force of 5 Celestial Sacrosaints, 9 Sisters Repentia, and a Repentia Superior, 10 Battle Sisters. I love the Battle Sisters so dang much. They're so awesome. And a Cherub who is hauling a Censer. The Battle Sisters can be built as Dominions or Celestians. The boarding patrol Adeptus Custodes features a band of the Emperor's most elite troops. It comes with Captain General Trajan Valoris, 3 Aloris custodians, and 5 custodian guards. The boarding patrol Thousand Sun showcases 20 rubric marines in full armor. They are backed by 2 chaos spawn ready to tear into the passages of a space hulk looking for artifacts. Game Workshop also unveiled 4 Warhammer 40K boarding patrol box sets, which will be up for pre-order. So please be sure to check them out, and also check out the ICv2 article that we got this from. These figures just look so good. Like, the Battle Sisters in particular, just iconic red and gold attire. I'm loving it very much. But I want to know what you guys think. We got any Warhammer fans here? If so, how hurt is your wallet?
Oh no, I couldn't get into Warhammer just because I have a friend basically who is really, really into Warhammer, and I've seen his collection. He's got like the hard case to carry it in with the individual slots and magnifier to like paint his minis and stuff. And I just it was just a lot of money. And I just, me saying that with my collection of brickheads.
I
It's
still
like
remember the first time I went to a gamer's workshop and I saw a dude had a custom tape measure. Like the tape measure that he had a custom one. I'd never seen anything like it. I walked out immediately.
That's an enthusiast.
Yeah, for me, I never got into Warhammer. I always like the historical miniatures. I figure, like, if I'm going to sit down and play a miniatures game, I want to play, the Greeks against the Persians, or the Ramses against the Hittites or something like that. I don't know, just me.
Now that makes sense. I was the same way, but then somebody was like nuns with guns, and I was like, oh, fine, have $80.
nuns with guns. They are pretty cool. The sister, they are
Battle Sisters. Oh my god,
Battle Sisters. Yeah, especially how they repent. You like they're like, you've been a bad Battle Sister, so you have to go without armor, and then if you live, you're good.
Here's this 90. Now go fight an army. Like
exactly.
You get a 90 or a romper and a sword, and that's it.
No, but no, yeah, definitely click on the link, folks. There's just a lot to look forward to for this Warhammer stuff, and I feel like they've been around so long that it could, there could be an anniversary collection of some sort, maybe like a new edition. What do you think, Javion?
Well, Bonsai, sounds like you might have also heard the rumors that there might be a new edition of Warhammer coming out. They teased a 10th edition, actually, with a brief video titled "A New Threat Emerges" on the Games Workshop website. It's got a Tyranid staring off into the distance and a Space Marine Terminator reflected in its eye. So this article actually comes to us from Christian Hoffer of comicbook.com. Not a site we typically use for our news here. So we're excited to have some insight into their website here. So not a lot of details were revealed. It's really just a teaser. There's no official confirmation that says like this is a new edition coming up. It just says a new threat emerges. So it could be a lot of different things. But there's a lot of reasons why people are speculating that there's actually a new edition. I don't know if you guys know how deep the lore of Warhammer 40K goes, but every time they get a new edition, they always lead into it with a series of books. A recent like a set of books, and a recent set called Arcs of Omen have actually come out, and they typically end one edition with a narrative that sets up the next edition's narrative. So the Psychic Awakening campaign books that came before the 9th edition, and most assume that the Arcs of Omen are the same thing for the next edition coming up. So there's a lot of rumors. There's alleged leaks that are indicating that this is a new edition coming out, with a new starter box that features the Tyranids and Space Marines. And a lot of people are looking forward to seeing more of the Tyranids because they're one of the more popular armories, but they haven't had a lot of new models in quite some time. Same goes for the Terminators. Hopefully, we'll see more of that if there is a new edition indeed coming out. That just means that more of the minis that people actually want to see get showcased front and center for the new edition. If fingers crossed, there is a new one. So we're expecting to hear more news from the Warhammer 40K franchise, from the Games Workshop site in the next coming weeks. We'll just have to keep our eyes peeled until then.
Oh yeah, no, that is something that we definitely, if you are Warhammer fan, definitely keep your eyes peeled, but don't lose any sleep of it, or else you're gonna just be walking, just walking dead out there. Yeah, right, Peter?
Yeah. You don't want to be the Walking Dead, although you might want to play it. Alex
so
Meehan
good at
of
this.
Dicebreaker reports that the new tabletop role-playing game based on the Walking Dead TV series will enable players to experience scenarios directly inspired by the show. An upcoming TRPG, The Walking Dead universe role-playing game sees players attempting to survive in the world of the television series The Walking Dead, which is based on the graphic novel series from Image Comics. A crowdfunding campaign for the new tabletop RPG is currently live on Kickstarter, with the description for the title revealing more details about how it will play and what kind of features it will contain. Thank goodness, because we were asking about this last time, so they heard us. I'm really glad to know that. Set in the post-apocalyptic universe of The Walking Dead, the tabletop RPG will have players creating and controlling characters who must try to find hope in a world overrun by undead hordes and populated with people taking advantage of the chaos. The role-playing game will contain 2 gameplay modes for players to experience: a campaign mode and a survival mode. Players embarking on the campaign mode, as in most tabletop role-playing games, will drive the storyline alongside their game master through their characters' decisions and actions. The GM might decide to use one of the adventure storylines included with the Walking Dead universe role-playing game, but the story path is not predetermined and will be open to player choices. The alternate gameplay mode found in the horror RPG is survival mode, which will challenge players to survive a particular scenario. In survival mode, players are faced with a specific, often dangerous problem that they'll need to overcome that will be inspired by certain scenarios from the Walking Dead series, as well as featuring recognizable characters and locations. Whenever player characters attempt to overcome a challenge, they will need to roll a number of d6 depending on how competent they are at the skills or abilities they're using. To succeed at a challenge, players will need to roll at least a single 6, with multiple 6s resulting in a critical success. The gameplay of the Walking Dead RPG is based on the Year Zero engine, which is also the basis of Tales from the Loop and the Alien RPG. The Walking Dead universe role-playing game crowdfunder is currently live on Kickstarter and has raised $437,000 with 18 days to go. Sounds worth wandering about dead, don't you think, Bonsai?
Yes, I feel like we got to wander straight into that deal, especially because, really eats at the brain to get those kind of things. Speaking of which, though, that was
Zombie.
Our table takes.
Sorry, I just wanted to be included.
You want to, go ahead. Zombie, go ahead.
Zombie.
That's all I could think of.
Zombie. Well, you know what is really cool about things is the bundle, especially because I'm the bundle box. I'm back. Not only am the host, but I took over and said, I want to be the boss. It's me. I am. And this day we got bundles from itch.io, which is an actually very, very important bundle that I wanted to tell you all about, especially because I don't know if you noticed in America, but especially in Florida, there are a lot of laws and talks about restricting rights to a lot of queer individuals, people involved in the LGBTQ plus community, especially trans folks, very harshly in Florida. That is going on right now. And a way to combat that is that a lot of game creators, great makers, wanted to go ahead and compile over 500 games that you can get on itch.io, basically tabletop role-playing games for trans rights in Florida. Specifically, they're going to be raising money for 2 significant charities in Florida, Zebra Youth and trans exclusive groups, both of which are supporting trans rights and queer youth facing homelessness and a bunch of other like discrimination in sports, discrimination at school, a whole bunch of things that are going on, unfortunately, as time progresses in America. But at least the games that you can get are really, really great. Some of the games they have, for example, Wander Home and Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Thirsty Sword Lesbians also being noted as a Nebula Award winner. They also have a couple of really cool zines that I want to point out. Definitely Wizards, which is a game where, very apt, you are outlawed to be anything else but wizards. And if you are a magic user of any other kind, they're going to get rid of you. Very apt game. So you have to pretend to be definitely a wizard and no other magic user, so you can't be a druid or anything like that. And they also have Fist. So if you want to go ahead and just for $5 or more of a donation, if you feel right to support all of these trans folks, trans kids, and want to help them out in Florida, just go ahead and check out itch.io TTRPG for trans right in Florida. But yes, other than that, you know what? I'm just gonna bulldoze in right to crowdfunders, and I want to say, let's run wild, Peter. Tell me of what you have brought for us today.
All right, Your Honor. Yes, I will approach the bench and tell you about River Wild and Ancient Realm. This is currently on Kickstarter, having raised $64,000 with 18 hours to go. This campaign is an effort to finance two very different games by the same designer, Stephen Armini. River Wild is a game of creating the most harmonious landscape centered around a flowing river. Every time you play a card to extend your river, trying to create valleys for the local wildlife, match wildlife with scoring goals in the valleys to get the most points possible. But of the two games, I'm most intrigued with Ancient Realm, which at its heart is built on my favorite theme in board games, which, as Javion knows, is civilization building.
Yeah.
In Ancient Realm, you'll manage your resources to create a mighty civilization replete with wonders of the world. Each turn, you'll have 4 available cards to place. Some of them will be districts, the basic building blocks of civilization, while others will be wonders, powerful but costly constructions. Wonder cards feature 1 block and a wonder. Wonders are worth a large number of points and offer potent effects, but require significant resources to construct and cannot be further covered by cards. At the end of the game, you score your wonders and mines, as well as any remaining gold and resources to determine how your civilization stacks up. It comes with an expansion called Monuments and Misfortunes. No idea what that's about, but I backed it.
Oh, thank you very much. That sounds very, very cool. And we could get on point to approving all of these Kickstarters, right, Javion?
On point. Yes. Much like Point City. Yeah, there's a game called Point Salad. You might have played it. Super popular, won a bunch of awards, made by
I've got
AEG. Well, it's got a sequel. It's got a sequel for only $19, and it's called Point City. It takes all the fun of Point Salad and all the ease of play and adds engine building. How awesome is that? I got a chance to try it at Gen Con this year, and I freaking loved it. They also have another game called Deep Dive that they are releasing as well, so you can get this bundled together. It's a fast game for 1 to 6 players. If you like pushing your luck and you like ocean creatures, you're gonna love it. It's very simple. I highly recommend it. So definitely, if you want to find out more, check out the Kickstarter, which has 28 days left to go. They already got $130,000 more than their starting goal of 8,000. So they're doing pretty well, but you should definitely hop on before it's too late and get yourself a copy as well. Point City and Deep Dive.
Ooh, you know what? I feel like everyone should get on there, especially all them witches, right, Noir?
Oh yeah, I was ready for this. So, All Them Witches is a new game, just launched its Kickstarter this week, and I'm super duper excited about it. Just to be completely transparent with you, I am working with I am friends with a lot of the people that work to put this game together, and it is so cool. So the basic premise of this game is that it is giving people that were born and raised in loving magical worlds a way to relive those fantasies without perpetuating any sort of hateful agendas that might exist in the world. And when I tell you that this game has been put together by a collection of some of the most amazing individuals in the TTRPG space, I am not kidding you. We've got the wonderful Emma Panda. We've got Danny Quash, the most lovable brutal Dan, Rue Dickey, Nala J. Wu. Just a fantastic collection of creators working to put this magical world together. And it's super exciting. You have to check out the Kickstarter to see this amazing art. But the long and short of how the game is played is it uses a dice system as well as a deck of cards. It uses D4, D6s, D8s, D10s, and D12s for the primary mechanics of gameplay. There's also a D20, but it is used far less frequently. In the game, the die you'll roll determines the difficulty of the check being made, and your goal is to roll under the rank of the attribute being used for that check. But I can go back and forth telling you about how amazing the mechanics are, but there's something personal in my heart that I love about this game, which is there is a magical sport called Rindarost, and it actually makes sense, unlike another fantasy sport where I guess you work all day to get a couple of bigger balls in a hoop, but one person gets a small ball and the game is over. That's dumb. I would never watch that. I would never do a fantasy draft on that. This game makes a lot more sense, and it's included in all of the witches. So please be sure to check it out right now. They've already funded. I think they funded in 3 hours a goal of 12,000. They're currently at $28,293 with 28 days to go. So let's knock this thing out of the park. I want us to outsell Hogwarts Legacy. I want us to just go absolutely ham on this. So please check it out.
Yeah, no, especially because you sound so passionate about it. Maybe we could, not saying if somebody's in chat, to maybe if they want to be interviewed, not hinting or anything if they want to get that done, just saying.
Yeah, come on, Emma. I can't believe you didn't pull strings. Get on the show.
Yeah,
come on and talk to us about it.
I guess I could ask if it
somebody they want to be interviewed.
See if you can get her on the show.
Yeah, speaking of interviews, we actually have, of course, Jeffrey Dohm-Sanchez here from the managing editor from ICv2 coming in, and we're going to just do a quick transition screen to welcome them in, or him in. Yeah. Interview time, Gen Con interview time. And I believe we are all here.
Yep, I'm here. How you guys doing?
Hi, Jeffrey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I see I have the angelic effect back.
It's that daylight savings.
Yeah, got me, So, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, I hear you're really busy.
Oh, God. Yeah, I've been busy. We got conventions coming up this week, Adepticon, GaryCon, and then it just progresses on to what? Gamma Expo Reno. So that's coming up. There's a whole bunch of them,
Hey, I'll be at Gamma. You're going to be there?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, all right. We'll see you there. Good.
Yeah, I'll be at all those. GaryCon, all of them. So
I won't be at all of them.
Okay.
No.
And Gen Con too. I'll be there.
Good. Okay.
I used to go to GaryCon, but once in a while I just, I just like I'm on an every other year for GaryCon now. I think that's a good cadence.
I've actually never been to GaryCon. I want to change that.
Yeah.
I mean, since you're going to be going to all of these conventions, I guess the bigger question is, what is the favorite of these conventions that you go to get most of your scoop?
I can't pick a favorite. They're all wonderful. Gen Con probably. Since I'm on the TV show. No, I've been going to Gen Con for what? Since like 1994 or something like that. So I think I missed 2 total since that time. So I'm
curious. Do you look when you go to these conventions? Are there some things that you look for as a journalist versus some things you look for as a consumer? And what are those? What are the differences, if you don't mind my asking?
So that's a real fine line. Like generally when I go to a convention, I don't have the time to go look for the consumer stuff, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, my conventions generally consist of like 10 meetings a day plus some other stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, I meet with almost every publisher, usually, whether it's scheduled or not scheduled. So, yeah. So, a lot of stuff happens. So, that's why we're doing more conventions, so I don't have to jam it all in at like Gen Con and go to like 50 publishers in like a couple days. So
do you find that you get your biggest scoops at these conventions?
Oh yeah, no, we get a lot of coverage from all the conventions. Mainly what we do at the conventions is we put together galleries and highlight, because let's take Gen Con for example. I think last time I was at Gen Con, I think I talked to something close to like 75 publishers and had pictures of all that. So we just put together these like colossal galleries with like the best of the best and all that. And I'm sorry that my video is making it's just blotting me out.
No, honestly, I think we're all very appreciative of you taking the time to talk to us while you're ascending to heaven.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, it's St. Patrick's Day. I mean, most people in Chicago have been drinking since I don't know 5:45 a.m.
Yeah, we have.
So yeah. I mean, you saw it on the news this morning, I'm sure. Like, they were over at Bourbon Street, like 300 people already smashed at 6 a.m.
Wow.
So, yep.
They're losers, I fear for them.
Jeffrey, you've been on our show before.
Yep.
Folks in chat might recognize you, having done articles with us before. And I've asked you this before, too, but I really want everybody to do this. What's it like hearing us repeating the words that you put on your articles? It's got to be surreal.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, especially when you guys like read right out of the article. I'm like, oh, I know who wrote that. I mean, but that's the thing is like when you repeat things out of other people's articles too, like I read a lot of those too. So it's like, oh, you guys do a great job here. That's all I gotta say. It is a little surreal. I mean, the part that was really surreal is in that first episode I did with you guys where you kept repeating my name as a source. And it just became a running joke. So, so that was great. Like, I thought that was hilarious. That was great streaming right there. So.
Yeah. What advice would you give somebody who was interested in becoming a journalist focused mainly on the TTRPG space versus advice that you would give for somebody that is just interested in doing entertainment in general?
Well, my advice is travel. That has probably served me the best in my career. So, before I was with ICv2, I was with Greater Games Industry for 10 years. And, I went to every convention on the planet. I mean, that's how I met all these folks like Peter and some of his associates and, like anyone who owns a gaming company mostly. So but yeah, traveling puts a lot of, gives you a lot of experience. And it's nothing's better than having like first person accounts of things. Okay. So if you sit there and you interview somebody or you talk to somebody or, you're at their booth asking them about their games, you get the opportunity to go in a little deeper than just, something you might find off of like a sell sheet or an advertisement or something like that. So, I mean, that's the best way of doing it. Also, reviewing is a big thing too. I think everybody needs to know how to write reviews as opposed to do video reviews because when you write the review, it's a lot different than just talking about it on, YouTube or something like that. And, because you're just kind of doing it off the cuff on YouTube. But when you're forced to sit down and actually construct paragraphs and, make it interesting so someone doesn't cut out, in the first 2 sentences or something like that. Stop reading your article. Yeah. When you master that art, I think that's really helpful for journalists right now. So
I have a question for you, Jeffrey. What advice would you give to someone who wanted to make the news, be in the news? So say a publisher, they've got a hot new game and they want to get the word out. It used to be you could run ads in magazines. Could somebody just cold call you and say, "Hey, Jeff, I got a hot tip for you"?
Oh man, that is such a hard question right now because there are a lot of small publishers out there I would like to report on every day of the week, but I just don't get that opportunity because of Magic the Gathering. I mean, like, it's like, I don't know. Like, so, we have what's called an editorial limit, where we max out coverage. We can only talk about so many games a day, but, my best advice to those people trying to get like a little bit of the press and all that is that just make yourself as unique as possible. Okay. Because like there's been times like I want to say it's Snowbright Studios is one of them that I basically would have no reason to report on them normally. However, they put together such great press releases to me where like there was a Kickstarter they did recently called Ink. Like, and I read through that and that was unique. Like, I mean, are you guys familiar with that or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like the long and the short of this game was that it was a game about what happens to your character after they die. So like you could take a dead character from a different system and you're going through this afterworld, in Ink. So it's like I liken it a little bit to like Spirited Away. Okay, it's kind of like that movie. So, but yeah, that was like an ultra unique thing, and he sent it to me. He's like, "Hey, this is cool," So, and
but you mentioned getting press releases. So companies still use press releases. I mean, you they come across your desk.
Yeah, press releases. I get press releases constantly. I get Gen Con press releases, in fact. So, like,
I know. I just wonder if anybody read them.
Yeah, no, we read all of them. Actually, that's as silly as that sounds. Yes, we in fact read everything. So, as to whether or not it comes to the surface on our site, that's like, I mean, that's just what was hot that day, what kind of room we have, who we have available to write the article, stuff like that. So, because, we're working basically with a team of freelancers and one, two, three, four editors, I want to say. So, and, when the editors get maxed out with what they can handle and the freelancers get maxed out with what they can handle, it gets passed on to another day. And as news gets older, it gets less interesting sometimes. So
cycle through.
Yeah. It's just like it's a strike while the iron is hot industry, for all purposes. So when something's brand new and it came out and somebody talked about it, being first on that, there's something to that. So
with being something that's like with red hot news, how do you vet those sources that you do like, get in contact with? You're like, oh, okay, this thing is really, really hot on the presses, but how do you like vet? Is there like a way that you can tell us or?
Well, usually we just contact the company and ask them. So like that's usually the easiest thing you can do. The other thing you can do is there's sort of third party ways of doing it. Like usually we don't do anything we don't have more than two sources for. So that's, if we do something out of a distribution catalog, we look at another distributor, we look at a website, stuff like that. So, but most of the time we just ask the publisher what's going on and they'll be happy to tell us. So
you're really deep in the tabletop world, but where did you get your start? What inspired you to get into tabletop in the first place? What was your origin story?
So the origin story is that I was essentially part of that pioneer crowd. Like Peter's part of the pioneer crowd, except he was on a different scale of the pioneer crowd. So like around 1992 to 1996, a whole bunch of people figured out what TCGs were or CCGs at the time. And, there were lots of CCG companies. And, I think I started out officially as a demo expert a long, long time ago. So just like back in the day, it was different. You could go to a convention for free as long as you demoed people's games, or people would give you free stuff to demo people's games. And demoing was a major thing. The other thing was, I had some connections with various RPG companies that I'd done a little bit of freelance work for. So, I mean, that was the foot in the door. But even then, that took 10 years to build up to the point where I got like an actual job in the industry. So
That's really cool.
yeah, I think the first company I worked for officially was Thunder Castle Games, the makers of Highlander, the card game.
Ooh.
Right. We're talking ancient history stuff. All right. Yeah.
I was not aware there was a Highlander card game. And
Oh, yeah.
All I want is a deck.
Yeah. Oh no, I have full sets of it. So if I ever run into you in the city, I can show you how to play it.
I'll see you in Gen Con. There'll be only one.
Yeah. There will be. I mean, they made all of them in that game. It was a fantastic game. It's too bad, like, it was sort of only, it lasted as long as the Highlander brand was out there. So, like, basically the TV series, and that was it. I don't know what they've done with Highlander since then. We're still trying to figure out who has the rights to Highlander actually lately, because there was someone else. Someone else was trying to make a Highlander RPG recently, and we were like, where did he get the rights to this? I thought Panzer and Davis shuffled this off somewhere. So we've been looking. I mean, if anyone knows who owns the rights to Highlander, let me know.
I'll ask Dave.
Yeah.
So, what do you look for when you're picking out freelancers to write for you? Like, what would you advise like up and coming freelancers to get attention from publications?
Well, recently our criteria is can you complete a sentence? Like, so
all right, I'm out. I'm kidding.
I wish I wasn't kidding. So I mean, we get a lot of submissions for freelance people want to write for us, that and it is some of the most painful reading stuff. It's just like, oh, I mean, and we're not great spellers on that site either. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like, so I mean, like, you can submit, you can contact us via email if you want to try to become a freelancer for us.
Okay.
Like, we need writing samples. I mean, the key thing I would have to say is, before your love of games, you definitely have to be able to write. Like, that's like the number one right there. That's like 90% of the people we deny for any sort of freelancer gig is because they can't write. And, and I'm not talking to like use Chat GPT to, come up with, right. I mean, I know, like, the AI world has blown us away as far as it's caused so many problems in our sector.
I'm sure.
Like, artists are angry, writers are angry. It's just, it's every day. So, but yes, writing is the top thing.
You would think they would have their writing samples edited. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead,
you'd be wrong.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, since we're on the page of writing, so when you and other fellow like writers, or when you're editing, like, what if you're very passionate or have a personal connection to something that you're doing an article about? How do you stay neutral, or do you stay neutral at all?
It all depends what you're doing. So, like, if I'm doing a product announcement, all our product announcements tend to look like each other, because of the fact that we want to have like this. Like, one of the things about ICv2 that's great is that there's uniform consistency across the site. So, like, all the articles, you can read it in 5 minutes, know what it's about, that's it. The stuff that gets kind of tricky is if we start picking up features, in which case, like, there has to be some degree of passion about the feature you're writing or the column you're writing, but you just got to watch what you say. You can't overpromise, stuff like that. Like, I mean, you can say, I mean, we generally try not to have opinions about things unless we're doing columns. So, in which case, columns are a whole other category of writing.
Oh, no worries. I think we have one more time for about one more question. Anybody want to go ahead?
Actually, I think our producer is telling us that we have 2 minutes until we have to end the stream. So I think we should probably stop now. Thank you so much, Jeffrey.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Having you on.
Yep.
We love interviewing.
Great to see you guys again.
It's always a pleasure.
Yep.
It's great always getting those interviews, and I'm sure everyone is very excited to hear. But yes, number one thing, know how to write and spell check. That's the biggest thing that you get.
Yeah, I'll be editing my writing samples after this.
But yes, no, thank you everyone, and also thank you Jeffrey Dohm-Sanchez for coming in, being interviewed, and answering our questions and providing us articles and such. And right now here on Gen Con TV, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the whole slew of shows that we have coming up. After this, stick around at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is West Coast time. Join us for some joyful gaming around Sarah's table. Sarah Moore and friends will be playing Horseshoe Academy. And also the rest is scheduled this week on Gen Con TV. It goes Monday, 4 p.m., board game with the Brothers Mirth. And then 6 p.m., Dress to Quest. Thursday at 10 a.m., we have Blood on the Clock Tower, followed by, at 4 p.m., Roll with Rem Ultimus. Later on, to be joined by us here on Gen Con TableTakes at 2 p.m. on Friday, followed by Game Night and Sarah's Table. I wanted to say thank you to Peter Atkinson, Javion, and Noir for joining us. And again, another thank you to Jeffrey for hanging out with us and being a wonderful person that you are. Remember, folks, if you miss any of our programming, you can check out the VODs here on Twitch or on YouTube 24 hours later. And don't forget to follow Gen Con TV here for more of the best 4 days of gaming all year round. I would like you all to have a good time. Remember to hydrate with something other than alcohol if you're in the United States. Drink water. All right, drink water, please, and be responsible. Remember, only the real Irish wear orange, not green. And I will see you all next week. Bye, friends.
Bye.